Well, I hope that's working. It's the new year, anything could happen. Let's see, g'day, I'm Steve, and welcome to the wonderful... Well, I hope that's working. No, hang on, I've got feedback.
Anything could happen.
It could too. There you go, he's gone. I hate listening to myself. Anyway, Happy New Year! May 2020, I don't want to be 100 years ahead of myself. 2021 be a great year for you and your creativity and whatever it is you aspire to be, make, do or have. I'm Steve Hay, this is Carbatec, a wonderful world of woodworking, and today we're going to have a go at doing some epoxy pouring. It seems to be the trendy thing at the moment. Let me just grab the chat so I can see if anyone's talking to me, because I love talking to myself. I prefer talking to myself than listening to myself. There we go. We're there. I'm hoping that's all good. Then that can go there, and that can go there. Oh, I'm remiss. Wait a minute, I'll just have to go into fill out the details of what I'm doing on the string. Meanwhile, I'll tell you what I want to do today, and that is, wait a minute. But see, you take a week off and then you've got to retrain me. There we go, that's what I want. And it's not oh yes it is. It's changing screen now. What I want to do is do a pour for, instead of river tables are all the gear, but quite frankly, epoxy's not cheap, and unless you've actually got a commission or you've got a set idea of exactly what you want to do, there is so much fun you can have with using much smaller amounts of epoxy. So I want to do a serving tray pour. We'll do one from scratch. I'll share with you how I actually fit the mould in, because one of the biggest problems I've found, I'm just adjusting this. Oh dear, please excuse me. I can't even spell. I'll fit all the rest of that up later on. So that's all good. Do I have to do anything else? I've got the stream out. What's happening? G'day, Michael. How are you, mate? I'm just behind the 8 ball here, so please excuse me. I will be 100% with you very, very shortly. Okay, don't need that. I've got that, so I don't need that. As per usual, you can tell I'm totally organised. I put the cameras on, did everything, was running around, and then I went to put my microphone on, flat batteries, all that figures. Didn't have any batteries in the shed, so I had to rush out and get some from another shed. But we should be all good to go now. So welcome, Michael, thank you for dropping in. Gives me someone to have a natter to. And let's get into, well, I'll show you a pine cone that I've poured earlier. The shed is an absolute schmozzle. I'm just checking all my cameras to make sure they work. So that one's there. That one's good to go there. So there you go. Okay. And let's start. The epoxy I'm doing this pour with is, I'll show you, is called, it's called, that's heavy when you drop it on your foot. This stuff here. Perfect cast, rigid casting. Comes in 2 parts, and it's a 2-to-1 ratio by volume. So you've got 4 litres of resin, 2 litres of hardener. If you're going to do this, have a look and be mindful, because you can get casting resins or epoxies. There's a difference between casting resin and epoxy. In fact, there's a few different epoxies out there, which I'll go into later on. A lot will be by volume and others will be by weight. So if you get one that is by weight, get yourself a nice pair of digital scales and weigh it out. Don't just go on volume. To me, volume is easier. What I do, I just went to the local supermarket and they've got all these different size picnic cups and drink cups. What am I showing you that for when I'm not even there? There you go. These drink cups. And I personally only use them once and throw them away. For the cost of them, it's not worth being miserly. I don't believe. Oh dear. Let's see. Okay, what have we got? I have turned with this particular one. This is rigid cast, and I have turned with it, which I'll show you here. But quite frankly, I don't think it was the correct resin to turn with, because yeah, it was a bit not nice. So I'll experiment that and I'll go down and see if I can get the right turning resin, and we might do another video later on turning stuff with resin, which is good fun. The other things you can do with resin, which I find is absolutely fascinating. This bowl was one, actually my son was making. He came up here for Christmas and he got a little bit enthusiastic while he was turning and turned right through the bottom of the bowl. So he went through the top on the bottom. So what I've done, I've just filled that with resin, and then I'm going to fill that with a different coloured resin here, and then you've still got your mounting points. So when he's turning, as soon as he changes colour, he knows he's pretty close to going through, and the same with the back. So we'll see how that turns out. It's interesting. Another thing I do when I'm doing a pour is I always have something spare. Where are those other things? Here we go. That doesn't matter if it's not a perfect job or not. And where are we? Hang on, wait a minute. Oh, my phone out over there. Because when you've got stuff left over, it's so nice just to put it in a project. This one here, I have had for, I don't know, about 3 or 4 different casting sessions. And I've just put my excess in there, so I have no idea what those colours are going to look like. But I'll pull it out later on and I'll turn it and have a look-see. Or you can get just cheap little, these are caster moulds for drink casters. And when you've got a bit left over, just pour it in there. So you're not wasting it, because as I said, it's not cheap. It's not like liquid gold, but if you can utilise every little bit, you're getting more bang for your buck. And if it's something you want to go to the markets and sell or give away, it's almost money for jam, because it's waste that you wouldn't use, but by doing different colours and different pours together, you can get some interesting results. This was a beefwood platter I was going to do here, but I've decided, I like that with the borer holes in it. I've decided I'm going to do a different one, which I'll share with you in a tick. A couple of things, you have to be organised, which is really challenging for me. But the more stuff you've got organised, the easier the pour goes, because it's incredible when you do your first couple, you all of a sudden become under so much pressure, because you know there's a pot life on this, and there's a time this has to be done, and then this has to be in, and yada, yada, yada. So if you're going to prepare your wood, what I do, I use a wire brush. I've actually got a wire brush on a grinder. So I grind all the soft bits of timber off on the grinder, hence you can see where those grubs have been in. All that there is nice and solid, but there was a lot of pith and what have you in there before I did that. So make sure your wood's prepared before you start. I don't normally, this has been machined, but normally I don't. I just get the timber, clean it up and put it in, because the way I worked out my way of doing it is I will cast, and I want the thickest piece of timber I can. So I'll cast it, then I'll machine it, and then I'll finish it off. We'll get into it in a tick. Any questions so far? Michael, any questions so far? Oh, hang on, I'll just flick this out whilst I'm thinking about it. Excuse I. Oh, what's going on here? It's gone. Mouse doesn't want to even play today. It's there and it's not there. There we go. It's most likely just not working on that particular bit. Okay. Oh. Ba-da-bum, ba-da-dee-dum. Where's my keyboard? What? I'm sorry. Here you go. So I hate this. Press one wrong button and it goes weird on you. There we go, that's what I was looking for. Let's see if I've got the internet. Okay. Hang on, Michael, I've lost you. There you go, you're back. Oh, there you go. My wife wants to fill a crack in some red gum. What is the best epoxy to use? Well, in that case, it would be this stuff. The rigid casting for its, I'll find a decent pair of glasses. It comes in smaller bottles too. You don't have to buy these big bottles. It says, rigid casting is solvent-free epoxy applications. Mix enough resin to harden, pour part A, part B, storage. Well, that doesn't give you anything. But this is for filling knot holes and cracks. The other one I saw that I didn't get was for like a 2-pack finish, a top coat. Whereas this, you can go down 20 millimetres or 3/4 of an inch. In one pour. I have done bigger, deeper pours. So, but that'll be the one there. I have done deeper pours, which you'll see in a minute, and it seems to work fine. In fact, I'll show you one if I can find it. I've got rubbish everywhere here. Where did I put those ones? No, that's not it. Weight one. Isn't it marvellous? I bring stuff down here and then I go, oh, here we go. Hanging up on the floor. All right, that was a pour I did last night, and that's definitely deeper than 20 millimetres. And that's a pine cone inside there. This was one that exploded on the lathe, which wasn't very nice and made me think that this isn't the stuff for turning. But what I did, I recast it with some gold pretties in there and then put it in a pressure pot, and hopefully that'll fill all the voids, and I will have a go at turning it later. So if you're in no great hurry, the other trick with this is if you've got a heat gun or a hairdryer, when you're putting it in, especially if you're doing a deep pour, you will get bubbles coming to the surface. And if you just wave, we'll do it actually, we'll do a pour. If you just wave it over the top, it goes away. So let's get into it. G'day Trevor, Happy New Year to you, mate. Oh dear. All right, this is, gotta find the timber now. So I'm organised, Ethel, it's all right. I can't find it. Oh, here it is, over here. I put it over here so I'd know where it was and I forgot. Now, this was a lump of timber literally I had kicking around the yard. And I can't find the other piece so I could show you what, oh yeah, there it is. There it isn't. Okay, no, I can't do that. But this was just an offcut of a buttress that came out here and around here, and it was that thick. What I actually did was did a resaw, cut it, then did a resaw. So I had two bits, and then I cut them up into 3 different pieces. And then we got a, there you go, sort of like, that's sort of how I envisage it there. So as you can tell, I haven't machined that. That's as rough as Hessian underpants. That has, but that's only because I resawed it, but you can see the saw marks in it. But again, I went over a wire wheel. G'day Louise, good morning, Happy New Year to you too, my sweet. And I wire brushed it on the grinder. Those that missed it, what I suggest you do with any timber you're going to work, either wire brush or wire wheel. I used a wire wheel on a grinder and it gets rid of all the soft stuff. You don't want soft stuff because, number one, it floats to the surface and gives you an unclean pour, and the resin won't stick to it. I thought, no, but the resin, this epoxy, is going to set. No, it doesn't. It becomes soft and flaky. So get your wood all nicely prepared before you start. Now, the biggest drama I had, I know I've watched, I will give you a word of caution here, word of caution. If you go onto YouTube to see how to do river pours or epoxy work, they make it look so easy. I have gone through 3 litres of resin to work out how to use it. So it can be a costly exercise if you just get in there and you're going to do a big job straight off. No, start with something really small, get used to working with the materials, get an idea of the process that you're going to use. And this is only my process. It's not the only one. There's a lot of people on YouTube doing it totally different ways. There are some I shake my head and go, well, why would you do that? But then again, it works for them, and hey, more power to you. If you can work out a way that works for you and it's not my way, doesn't matter, providing you're happy with the result. So the way I made my frame, I was going to the reject shops, the cheapy shops, the dollar shops, trying to find plastic trays to put my moulds in. But nearly all the plastic trays had a rounded bottom and rounded corners, and they weren't quite the size that I wanted. And even then, when you do a mould in that, unless you're using a release agent, a lot of times the mould won't come out and you ruin your container trying to get the mould out, or if you're a bit too early, you can crack the mould before you get it out. All these are personal experiences I'm sharing with you. So what I've come up with is what I believe is the easiest way of doing it. And I bet you, oh yes, I have a look at that. Might not be the best way, but I've used it several times and it works really, really well for me. And I make an individual mould up to suit my piece. For this, I'm just using plywood, just ordinary cheap 3-ply. That's 8mm. Doesn't matter what you use, it's just what I had around. So let me see if we can do this so you can get an idea of what I'm doing here. That's Actually, we might even just go, how's that? There you go. You can have me in the corner talking to you. So I set out the pattern I wanted first. And then I went about working out how I was going to set it up. And then I cut a piece of plywood. Here you go. I cut a piece of plywood to the size that I wanted that tray. Then I've cut some edges, which I've cut too short, too long. Wait a minute, I'm going to have to dock those off. I've got these bits, yeah, that's good. So you put your double up that end, bring that end down, mark that. All right, I'm just going to go over the saw and dock those to length. And then we can begin. All right. So now they get out. They sit there nicely. And I have the ends butting up. Doesn't matter whichever way you want to do it. This is a new idea I just thought of this morning. So I'm going to see if it works. If it does, it makes life a little bit easier. So I've got some really big long rubber bands there. Put that to one side of them. But we don't need this at the moment, so we can move that out of shot. And I'm just wondering if I can do this. Oh yeah, this is going to make life so much easier. Ow! That hurt. Okay. All right, so there's my box. Then what I do, make sure it's flat on the table. You can use whatever you like. I quite like this cloth tape. And it's not frightfully expensive. It's not gaffer tape, it's just ordinary cloth tape. Gaffer tape, there's no real purpose in paying the extra for it because you really don't need it. Now what I do is I'll turn it upside down. Okay, make sure it's flat there a little bit out those. I could trim those, I guess, but it's not that essential. And then I put tape around there. You with me so far? And you can leave the rubber band on, it really doesn't matter. It's better if you've got them all the right width. I've got the ends a little bit wider than the rest, but I guess that's just to show you don't have to be super precise. Rip that off. Double it over there. So now we've got the frame with tape on the outside. Put this on the inside. Careful not to fold the tape over. It's not the end of the world if you do, but it's just much easier if you don't, like I just did then. Now I've thought about stapling it or gluing it on, but what I found was doing it this way, you can get to use the mould again and again without too much drama. Now fold it over. And fold it over on the ends. And fold it over the ends there. Push it out to the edge. And there you have a tray that's going to take your mould. Initially I was putting extra strips down here, but I found something else that I do, which makes it a waste of tape. So there we go. Hey Steve, been down to the Big Smoke Vulture, to the big green shed, spending my Christmas. Yeah mate, I tell you what, I should have bought shares in there before I went down for Christmas. We're going a bit silly. Did you get some nice toys though mate? Did you get some nice toys? All right. Now the other thing I do is you can use ordinary kitchen variety Glad wrap. This stuff I've got here is actually industrial pallet wrap, and I don't know, I think if you're going to do a lot of this, it might be worth investing in some. I don't know if I'm going to be tight or not. Let me just get a knife and we'll see. It you can buy it online or whatever. I have used, as I said, ordinary cling film from the supermarket, and it worked just fine. This one, no. See, if I did that, I'm just right up here on the edge. Right up, let's go there. Right up here, and if I get that folding in, I'm in a world of hurt. So it doesn't pay to skimp. So we'll do it again. Yeah, the reason I use this stuff is when I go out and get my own timber, I wrap the timber up in this, and it keeps the moisture in so it doesn't dry out or crack or split. That's better. Now you just position that. And push it into the mould. Nothing hard about that at all. Try and keep the creases out, but it's my experience you can't get rid of all of them. But it doesn't matter because this is hasn't been machined. It's even got texture marks on it. It doesn't matter because we're going to take a fair bit of that off when we put it through the thicknesser. Now work out how you want your tray to look. That's looking all right. You can have it touching or not touching, it doesn't matter. Make sure it's nice and flat down and not crimped up in the corners. Although you'll find if this plastic is loose, it's not an issue, because when the epoxy goes in there, it'll actually spread it out. All right, how's that going so far? All right, let's mix up some epoxy. I would strongly recommend you wear gloves for this process, because it does get really sticky. Unfortunately, all the gloves that I've got, they're too small for me, so when I put them on my hand, they're breaking. And the other set of gloves I did have, I couldn't find the box where they were. So I will be doing these without gloves, but I highly recommend you use gloves. It's pretty right. I mean, if you want, wear eye protection, but at this stage, you're not going to be doing anything that's going to create too much of a splash. The colours, I don't know what colour I'm going to do on this. This is the colouring I'm using. And I thought I'll put, this one comes in a set, and it's different colours of pearlescence, which change colour. I don't know which colours they change to, but I don't know. I don't know which one's going to look nice with that. I think that one, actually. Either that one or that one. I'm thinking. No, I'll do Sumo Wrestler. That's the colour I'm going to use, Sumo Wrestler. And you don't use a huge amount of it. You only use a small amount. From my limited experience of doing this, I reckon I'm going to need maybe 3 pours. And the glasses I use are the big ones. I don't know what they are. You just go to supermarket and they're big, large ones. Colour we'll put in a little bit in later. There's something else I'll show you that I do, which actually we might do it now, because we might bring this up here, push that there, we'll have that there. Make sure it's level. Because if it's not level, you won't be getting an even pour. And there's no point trying to work that when you've got the timber in it, because the timber's a different thickness. So put it on the tray like that. Okay, that's pretty level that way. And it's pretty okay that way, so I don't have to shim it up. The shimmer, I've got these, just a little, oh, we're on the wrong camera. There you go. These little wedgy things that are good value. You can just shim it up if you have to. That's level, so we don't have to worry about that. We might go, should we go that way? Yeah, we might do that, and then you can see from both angles what I'm doing. I've got an insect inside my TV screen. I thought I had something on the timber, but I didn't. Okay, so we'll Just rearrange this so it fits in there nicely, which it does. And I'm pretty happy with that. All right, now we will mix up the resin. Just put that back. As I said, it's a volume thing. Oh, another thing, so I did say be organised, didn't I? Where did I put them? Oh, here we go. On the table, and I couldn't see them because I had something else over the top. Paddle pop sticks, or something similar. There, that's what I use to stir it with. And this might do. Yeah, a little bit. Oh. For when we start putting the design in, kebab stick or shashlik sticks, or where are we? Or toothpicks. So now I'm using that beaker, and I'm using a 70ml container. I'll have that one is for the resin, that one's for the hardener. And that one can go over there. I pour the resin first. And I just fill it up, not to the top, but just to the lip. Pour it in. And then I'll have the hardener over this side. And fill that up to the lip. Always put the top on straight away, or else you are asking to knock it over. So it's 2 of these, 2 resins. To 1 hardener. Use a paddle pop stick to get it all out. This is quite nice. Use a resin one on the resin one and use another one on the hardener so you're not mixing them up. And I don't know if you can see that on, but all of a sudden it'll go craze. Now you've got to mix it for 2 minutes. So we've got 6:38. 8:38, I'll stop mixing. These are, if you can find a little electric mixer, it would be ideal. And this is where you tend to get the resin on your fingers. If it slops over the side while you're holding it, or you go too deep with your paddle pop stick, it gets on your thumb. And you have to go right down the bottom and get all the stuff that's on the bottom and mix it all up and mix it thoroughly. So it looks clear there, it looks pretty well mixed, but they recommend 2 minutes. I'm not one that generally follows instructions, but I have found if they say mix for 2 minutes, mix for 2 minutes. And it's starting to slip down the side, and hang on to it for grim death. Michael, does the unused resin? Yes. That's why you pour it all together. When they're separated, they've got a shelf life of 2 years. But when they're together, I think the work time on this is about 40 minutes, 50 minutes. But it will go off. That's why I recommend having moulds like these little coaster moulds, or a job like that timber that I had around here, and just pour all your extra bits into that, and then you're not wasting, you're actually putting into a job, and sometimes it might not turn out well, and other times it'll turn out and you go, whoa, that's fantastic. I want to do that again. Okay, so the colour I'm going to use is Sumo. Oh, that's it. Okay, that one's done. So now I'm going to get some colour. Let's get a little bit on the end of a paddle pop stick. So I didn't put too much in there. I must admit I haven't used this one before, so it'll be interesting to see how it looks. And you just mix it all in. Make sure you don't have any lumps of colour. I don't know if you could mix it while you're mixing the two. I tend to prefer to mix the two parts together and then add a colour and mix it in. So I don't know if that makes much difference at all. Okay, here we go. We're ready for a first pour. And I find if you pour it on the timber, it reduces the chance of bubbles. You still will get bubbles. There's no doubt about that. Okay, and I think we'll have another one of those. Same thing. Two of these, one of those. And you've got enough time to make a few batches. You can make it all in one go, I suppose. But I don't have the containers or the stirring sticks long enough for that. Whoops. Now, what I've done over there, I've got my paddle pop sticks mixed up, which was bad planning on my part. So I'm just going to toss all of those because I don't know which are which. Put the top on that. Get the hardener. I did one last night, which I'll show you shortly, because I'll show you one coming out of the mould. And the colour I was using, I had to do another pour. Do you think I could find that colour? Just couldn't find it anywhere. And then I realised it had fallen on the floor and rolled underneath the bench. So what have we got? 12:32, 13, 14:32, I can stop stirring. Hey Max! Good morning! How are you, mate? Happy New Year! There's a bit that gives the RSI, I tell you. Now I think a little beater will be the go. I'll go up to the big green shed after this, I think, and see if I can find something in the paint department. I don't know if you're watching that or if you can see it. Oh, I've got that in the way. But I'm starting to get a lot of bubbles coming up. Not a problem. I've got an itchy eye, but I don't want to scratch my eye because I've got resin on my fingers. Okay. Another 40 seconds and we'll be ready to rock and roll. And I will be buying some more gloves as well. We'll do something in a minute. What have you got? Another 20 seconds. Yeah, I think a little battery operated drill and slow speed would be just the business. Okay, there we go. And now we'll get some more of this, put it in. Use this again, zip that up. And I'm thinking this might be enough. 2. So in that way you're not using a lot of resin. I think they're 70ml cups. So that's 320, there's 3 is 21, twice is 40. So it's under half a litre of resin you're using to do the entire pour. Then you're going to end up with a pretty special sort of job, and it hasn't cost you $1,000. Okay, then we'll pour that one in. I'm just going to lift these up a little bit, see if I've got any air underneath them. So you don't really want air pockets. There you go. And the same with this bit here. Okay, that's pretty good. And we'll tip all this in. What I want to do is actually cover the timber completely. That way, when it's dried, I can plane it off down to the timber. Now you'll notice with timber, it might float. This bit here is floating. So what you've got to do then is weigh it down. Which I'll show you what to do with that in a minute. So we might even, I don't know. We might just do another pour. Or is that going to be good enough? No, that's got to have a little bit more on it, and that one's all right. This bit here is floating a little bit. So we might, okay, we'll pour a little bit more. See the bubbles on there? I don't know if you can see all these bubbles here. If you have a heat gun, put it on low speed turn it on first. Put it on low speed and they just disappear. All the bubbles just go. And you might have to do that several times whilst it's setting, just to make sure you get all of them out. It's not an issue if you're going to be machining it off, because the bubbles will actually stay on top. That way you're going to take it off with the machining anyway. So we'll just do a small pour, won't do a big one, just a small one just to fill those extra bits up. G'day T-Bone! Happy New Year to you, mate. Was it a big one in Louisiana? Okay. Did you have a gig? Did you have a gig whilst you were there? New Orleans, I mean. That's what I meant, Did you get a New Year's gig is what I'm asking. Okay. I got to concentrate when I'm doing this, because I'm either going to measure wrong or spill it. So at the moment it's rising to the top, but don't lose any sleep about that, because I'll show you how to weigh it down shortly. Yeah, at this stage, if you wanted to, you could put a different colour in, but I don't think it's necessary. What's the time? 20:30, 21, 22:30. I can stop doing this. So I'll talk to you while I'm doing this. Trevor, what about a Dremel? Yeah, it might be a bit fast, mate. I think it would work, but yeah, it'd have to be slow speed one. I just saw Facebook, why in this on different... Oh, it's because I was asked to do one for this company. And so I do a stream for them once a month, mate. But fear not, I'm still doing mine. And all this stuff you can actually... Or not all this stuff, but the resin you can get from Carbatec, just in case anyone's wondering where I get the resin from. I'll just get rid of some bubbles there. Andrew, g'day, welcome. What's the depth of pour you're doing, and any concerns about that? No, look, I'm doing 20 mil. This will do 20 mil pour without any worries. I have done bigger ones. I did these last night. That's definitely more than 20 mil, and it went off okay. So I haven't had any issues so far. The only issue I did have, which I've stressed, I don't believe, I'm happy to be corrected, but I don't believe this is ideal for turning, because, yeah, I had a couple of bad experiences with it, but I'm assured there is another resin you can get for turning. But this one's mainly for deep pour. But you can, I mean, there you go. This is, it's a little dragon's egg on a stand that I turned with. It's got a bit of translucent blue in it. So it will turn, but I think it's more suited for the pouring. It's all good, all good. But do this for another 30 seconds. And you can tell that timber's risen up, which isn't an issue. And I've got a good 40-minute, 50-minute window before it starts to go hard, so I'm just not worried. This is going to look quite pretty actually when it's finished. Okay, now we'll stick a bit more colour in this. And then I'm going to wash my hands afterwards. That colour I'm using, that's called, what's it called? Sumo Wrestler. There you go. Sumo Wrestler. And I bought a kit of it, and you get little sample packs. And then if you like the colours, you can then buy bigger jars of it. And so I've just got a couple of popular colours there. But it's pretty nice stuff. And I haven't used this pearlescence, or what is it? Light changing stuff before. So this is a first for both of us, all of us. Okay, I reckon that'll just about do it. All right, and as you can see, it started to float up. So we'll push that down and we'll get rid of some bubbles and do some other bits and pieces. And don't bother using the cups again, they're that cheap, you just use them once and toss them. Okay. Now what I do to hold them down is not very scientific or hard. I've just got 2-litre ice cream containers like this, and they're just full of water. And make sure they're dry on the bottom. I just noticed it's a little bit damp on the bottom, so just make sure there's no water on it. And then you put that on top, and that will hold it down. I'll put another one on the other side, which I've got to be careful for because I don't have a lid for it. Oh dear. So I'm just going to have to be careful I don't spill any of it. And I'll put that there, that should hold that down too. We might just move that one down a little bit. Yeah, there you go. And then if you want, you can put little swirls or whatever patterns you think would look nice. And we'll get rid of some air bubbles. And that is it. I might put that over there. And that is a pour. I don't know how we're going to go here because there's a couple of things I'm going to have to think about. Normally I'd leave that and that's it, I'd go up. Go up to the house and have a coffee and not worry about it, but I'll show you some other things while we're here. And I might have to move that, I don't know. That the plastic containers on top, they're brilliant because they don't. No, I'm going to have to move that. Where am I going to move it to? I'll move it here. No, can't move it there either. I might have to move it over there. Here's one I did last night, which I'll take out of the mask, the cast for you. I'll just take that off of there for the moment. I'm thinking, what machines am I going to be using? So I've got to move this so it's not going to be in the way. Careful not to trip on anything. There you go, I'll put it down there. Oh dear. All right. I'd put it on my seat. Now my seat's all got sticky stuff on it. I'll just wipe that off. Just make sure it's... You're just going to have to trust me on this. I'm just making sure that it's down nice and hard. So. Okay, I'll put another one there. There we go. That should hold it. All right. I've pressed something and there I am, I'm back. So that's how you do the pour. Now here's one I did last night. And exactly the same process, but look how easy it is. Derek, let me catch up. How long does it take to harden on average? Look, I've heard 4 hours, but I generally do it at night and I leave it 12 hours. This one I did last night at 7 o'clock, so that's 15 hours. And we'll see how that one goes. Brian! Happy New Year! Oh, there you go. Derek, Happy New Year to you too. Steve, I've turned resin a couple of times and found that H&S don't work as well with it, so I use Carbatec. Oh, the other thing too, what I discovered with talking turning resin is, yeah, forget thinking you're turning wood, because you're not. And I honestly think the scrapers are the best way to go, whether you use a skewer as a scraper or whatever. But yeah, trying to use it as you would normally, fraught with disaster, I found. Anyway, T-Bone, also found some old fencing that has carpenter. Oh, I love it. I resawed them to expose the tunnels that made an entry. Oh, there you go. Oh, you're into resin pouring too, T-Bone. Excellent. Yes, he did have a friend over. Max, he had next door neighbour's dog we were looking after for a week, and he was happy. He ate well too. Oh, get rid of that stuff. There we go. And by the way, if you're new to this channel, because it's not my channel, please hit the subscribe button if you like it. And I do streams on here on the first Saturday of every month. So, okay, now with that tape, all I've got to do is push down. And the good thing is, says he hopefully, I can use that mould again. This is the second time I've used this mould. I'll show you the first one that I did shortly. But that's how easy it is to make the mould and break it out. Let me just, I might use a chisel under that, I think. There we go. That's interesting. It had a very slight hole in the plastic, and I put a bit of masking tape on it, but no, it bled through. It bled through that little hole. So that was me being tight Nike again. I should have put a whole new piece of Glad wrap there. But there's been no, what do you call it? Release agent. This is just Glad wrap. Throw it away. And that's the container that I used. It was a little ice cream container with sand in it. And that was a bolt I used there because that little bit of timber kept floating up. So I put a bolt on that. But you can see it just releases quite easily. So what we might do, might go and stick that through. There's some bubbles I missed on the top, but by the time I've machined it, it should be okay. I'm just going to take that out. We're going to put it over the jointer, and then I'll put it through the thicknesser, and we'll cut the ends off, and we'll have a look to see how it looks. So come with me if I can take you out there. Which one's that? That one? Yep, okay. All right, let's go. If I'm not too tangled up. Oh. And yes, I've got a brand new drill because my other one died. Alrighty. Ooh. La-da-dum. Oh, righty. Whoop. Might just open the roller door. the light shine in. Fine cut to start with. Right up if I turn the dusty on. Oh, the dusty bag's full. I have to go and empty that, but I'm just hope I can get. Hopefully it's going to let me just do this quick one. So that's not too bad on the bottom. I'm just going over the thicknesser, which you most likely won't be able to see. Okay, that's at 18 mil. We'll just see if this is going to work. That bag has to be emptied, and I'll do that. I shall do that later because it's about a 20-minute job. But doesn't matter, we got part of it done, so at least you can see what we're aiming for. Oh, I'll just scrape all that stuff off. Yeah, it smells nice too. It's sandalwood. But you can see the sort of thing we're looking for. So when I finish the dust extractor, I'll take it down to that level of that timber there. Then we'll clean off at the back. And then we'll sand it and cut it. No, I won't cut it yet because I haven't finished machining it. But this is one that I've actually machined and cut, which I did on Thursday. That is still a bit soft, that one that I just did. And in a way it's good because it doesn't shatter when you put it through the thicknesser, but it's too soft, I found, to actually sand. It just was clogging the paper up. So this one, I think, should be a lot better. Now I've got a hole in this one, and this is something, I know I'm silly, I'll try it live, we'll see what happens. There's a hole here, right there. Now you can fill it with resin if you want, that takes a lot of time. What I have found to be absolutely brilliant is a UV glue. If I can find it, here we go. And the UV glue, you just, where are we? Actually, we might, I'll bring that one in. Yeah, that's better. Okay, so this little hole here, I'm just going to fill that with glue, like that. Get a toothpick and just prod it about a bit to make sure you got all the air out and you've got a good amount of glue in there. And then you put it under a UV light for about 2 minutes. You'd think they'd give you a bigger cord, wouldn't you? Let me just put that there. And while I'm doing that, I can talk to you. It's the same stuff that dentists use. You know, when you get a filling nowadays and they put the enamel on and then they put that purple light in your mouth? That's what this is. Brilliant idea. So I don't know if this is going to work or not. We'll just give it a bash, see what happens. BG, g'day mate, how are you? Happy New Year to you too. See you next time. Yeah, most people can't hang around this time of year, that's understandable. I skipped your other chats. I'll go back to them in a minute, Daryl. Michael, thanks Steve, it looks great. We will have to do a bit of playing around with some resin before doing the... Oh, yeah, that's the thing. As I said before, people that have joined us lately, there's a lot of fantastic, creative, brilliant YouTube videos on epoxy. They do not show you what can go wrong and what does go wrong. I wasted, well, it wasn't wasting as much as I learned, but I wasted 3 litres of epoxy before I actually got to something that I thought, oh, is that how it works? So I honestly would recommend, if you're going to do it, do a very, very small project to start with, and don't have huge expectations, because if you go ahead and do an $800 pour and it doesn't work out, you're not going to be happy, and you most likely won't try it again. Whereas if you do one that costs you $1 and it doesn't work out, well, there's a learning curve. What I have mentioned before is you make sure you're organised. Pick a small project, one that doesn't matter, and have a backup project, so if you've got any spare resin left over, you can tip it into that project, and that way you're not wasting anything. Experiment, that's the best way. Don't just go on what I say or what someone else says. Get out there and experiment. I do recommend, however, you follow the manufacturer's instructions, because I found that to be extremely helpful. Here we go in here. And just play. As I said, I'll try and get, okay, see how that's gone hard now. I'll just leave it on there for another minute. I will check out and find out what other resins are available and what's best for turning. I will show you how to cast an egg. Yeah, I'll do that now. Oh, there you go. And it just gives you food for thought. I got to tell you, I'll be totally honest. The first time I tried it, I thought, I hate this. I saw it and thought, oh, that'd be brilliant. I'd love to try that. And the first few goes ended up in the rubbish bin, and I was not happy at all. It wasn't until I started doing these pours here, and this actually was the first one I did, and that was only 2 days ago, that I thought, oh, I don't know, this has got merit. I quite enjoy that. Okay, that should do that. Now that should be hard enough that I can run a chisel over that. See that? What we'll do is we'll sand it. So I'll start with, sandpaper would be a good start, wouldn't it? Boom, 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 boom. I'll start with 100 grit, I think. Ba-da-boom. That one that I did before that I machined, from what I've learned so far, that's all I'd do. I'd machine it and I'd leave it for another 24 hours before I attempted to sand it because it's just too soft. This was cast on Thursday, so that's Friday, so that's 2 days, 48 hours. If you haven't got an extraction system on your sander, wear a mask because this stuff gets a bit dusty and it's not nice. And that hole that we had has now been filled. So we'll go 100. Got another one here, but I'll fix that up later on. We'll just go through the grits and see if we can get a finish, and that'll give you an idea. This is 120. I go to 180. Have I got a 180? I got a 150. Okay, I'll go 150. So 240. I'm not sure if I've got a 400 floating around here. Let me have a look. Oh, what's that one there? That looks, I think it's a 180. I was looking for that one. And I'll just see if I can find a finer one. Oh, well that fell down, whatever that was. No. So we might have to go old school and use a sanding block. Oh, that's all right. Okay, this is 320. We'll just do this bit here. And I've got a couple of other little holes that I've got to fill that at the moment I just want to show you how to bring it down to get a shine. Okay, so that's 320. This is 400. At the moment I'm in the normal abrasive papers. I'm switching over to wet and dry very, very soon though. Okay, so that's to 400. Now I'll switch over to wet and dries. And it's up to you how far you want to go. I did one the other day, I think I went to 2000 grit. Whether or not that was an overkill, I don't know. Let's see. That's a 1000. That's a 1200. That's a 2000. That's a 1500. That's a 400. What have I got an 800 in there? Oh dear. There's an 800 and a 600. There you go. All right. So now this is a 400 wet and dry. I will admit this isn't the prettiest pattern. It was just what I wanted to try. And it was the first go. But it sort of worked all right. Let's go all cans. So that's 400. And you can start to see a bit of it happening. This is 600. Obviously, if the back side is done, you're going to get a much cleaner transparency. And that's 600. This is 800. So it's starting to come up quite nicely. So I'll go to 1000. Try and keep the timber part as dry as possible so you don't get movement. What else have we got? 1200. $1,500. I'm sorry I haven't been talking to you. I've been flat out. I've enjoyed this actually. First stream of the year. There you go. That's the 1,500. That's not too bad. We might as well go to 2,000. See, and I've got a piece. I've got 2.5 there, but that's a bit silly. So we won't do that. But what I will do in the next stream, next Carbatec stream, I'll show you the other ones that we poured today, all finished. Okay, so that's, this side here is to 2,000. This one's here to 100. I'm now going to put some Triple E polish paste on it, which is this stuff here. I'm just going to put that on with a rag. Let's move that out of the way. Much easier using this on a lathe, I tell you. A lot less physical effort. That's it with Triple E. Now I'll put some shallow wax on it, which again is something that is used a lot more in wood turning, but we'll give it a go. I have seen people use car polish. Pour it out the right end, Dippy. What I would possibly do as well, if you've got it, you've got the opportunity, I'd put it on a mop wheel on a grinder, and that should get you a really nice sheen. But even so, just with handwork, I think you'll agree that's get a nice, you can see through part of it. Gets quite a nice finish, and it's very, very smooth to touch. So there you go. What I'll do is I'll fill these other holes up using that glue, and then I'll clean the back up and then polish it all up like that, and I mean that you can see through it. That's quite nice. I like that. I'm looking forward to seeing what the purple one turns out like. But I did promise you I'd show you how to do an egg if you want, so we'll do that. I'll just catch up with everybody. I'll go back to your chats, Daryl. I saw the Facebook. What is it? Oh, okay. What's the depth of pour? Lots fireworks. No parties. Dear oh dear. Resin something. Oh, righto. I've got you now, T-Bone. Resin is something I like to try. I found some old pier planks, rusted look. Yeah, it'd be awesome. Make sure whatever you do with your timber, you've got to clean it. Make sure it's got all the loose dust or dirt or barnacles or shell or grit or whatever. Blast all that out. As I've said before, I use a wire wheel on a grinder and an air line to blow all the muck out. T-Bone trivia, did you know you can use ultraviolet light to find scorpions in the dark? Oh, mate, I might do that. I'll go out in the backyard and see if I can find me some. There. Thanks for that. Oh, Trevor, it's only the second day of the year and you're in trouble already. I don't know, Trevor, I wouldn't be reading the news on the laptop either if that was the case. All right, let's see if I can find, here you go. Well, I won't, well, will I? No, I won't do the full pour, but I'll show you how to get the, get that part in there. Now that's a bit of burl that's been painted. As you can tell by the, I haven't cleaned the bottom off yet. Okay, so how you do that is get whatever size cup you want. This is a bit of buckeye burl I've picked up. Put that, the container on the bottom of that, just draw around it. And bearing in mind with this, it will flare out because it's smaller at the bottom and bigger at the top. This one was different, I inverted it. So this one's got a pine cone in it, and I inverted the cup and I sealed it with hot glue. You could use elastic or whatever, and then I poured from the top. So inside there is a pine cone on a piece of beef wood. So we'll see what that one turns out like later on. So with this, I'm gonna turn it, and we'll get it round. Now you can, if you like, go to the bandsaw and use a bandsaw, or my preferred method, which I think is much easier. Come with me. Oh, let there be light, they said. There you go. I'll just see if I can do this so I'm not standing in front of the camera. I'll just bring the glass in to make sure it fits. Still got a little bit to go. I hope that's in shot. That fits in there like that. Ah, it's got a brake on it. What an idiot. I forgot that's fitted with the brake. See, there's a brake there. Anyway, all right, let's go. Now, before I have used hot glue to glue that on, but what I found is once you pour the resin, the hot glue gets encapsulated in the resin, and then when you try and cut it off, it turns to gum. So what I'll use is that UV glue again, or super glue or ordinary epoxy. Whoops! What have I done? Put my sander away. Okay. Now, where did that brush go? What we'll do is, I did have another brush here. What did I do with that? Oh, come on. Wait on, I'll just go and grab another paintbrush. All right, got one. Blow all this off, make sure it's nice and clean. So you don't have any loose dirt on it. I'm actually going to put a black finish on here first, and then I can put the colour on the top. If I can find the black. Where did it go? It was on the table a minute ago. Or perhaps I'm not going to put a black finish on it. I saw it but 2 seconds ago. Doo-doo-boom. Perhaps I left it out here. No. Well, if I can't find it, I won't use it. There you go. The only reason I put a black finish underneath it, it gives the colour more depth. But if you can't find it, oh yeah, I'll open this one for you. This is what I'm thinking. I don't know where it's gone. This is one that I turned earlier and it exploded, which wasn't very nice at all. So I recast it last night in the pressure pot to fill all the voids. And I'll do that on a different video. We'll do that because it's up in the other shed. I was going to do it up in that shed and then I thought, no, my luck, everything wouldn't work. And I can't find that paint. Gee, that's annoying. Because I bought it down special just for that. One more look over here and then I'll give up. I bet you I'll find it as soon as I stop streaming. Oh, there it is, right in front of me. Well, you can't find it, so that's it, don't cry over it. We'll just go right ahead. Little container, that glue, and then I think we'll pick another pearlescence type one. Note to self, Mate, I always put things where I can find them. It's just I forget where I was going to find them. No, so I brought it down. I couldn't find it this morning, and then I thought, oh, no, I know where it is. And I found it, and I brought it down here, and I put it somewhere very safe. But hey, doesn't matter. You got to improvise. Think on the hop. Here we go. We'll put a bit of that in there. Da-da-dum. I'm just mixing that up with that glue. I'm still looking for it. Could be here somewhere. Oh, there it is. I found it. Stop looking, Mildred. I found it. Down here. It was exactly where I put it, Brian. Okay. So now I'm just going to paint this black. Whoops. I'll go to the other camera. That one's just fallen down. Now, I hope this is an indication of how the year's going to go. There you go. Let's do that. This is just a cheap old tube of acrylic, nothing special, $2, $2.50 or whatever it was. You don't have to paint all around the outside really, because if you're going to turn it, there's every chance that colour's going to be coming off. Anyway. But I've got the paint out, we might as well use it. Okay, so that's all. It looks like a cupcake, doesn't it? I wouldn't think it'd taste like one. And we'll just give that a quick dry off with the old heat gun. Okay, that's pretty close to being dry enough for all intents and purposes. Okay, just cool it off with a bit of air. Right. Now with an old cheapo paintbrush, because you're not going to get two uses out of it, we will paint it. Really funny, I'm looking there, you're seeing a blue. I'm looking down from the top, I can see green and gold. Really cool. What I'm going to do with the rest of that is, on this pine cone, I think I'll just pour the rest in here. And that might give us a little change of colour in there as well. That way we're not wasting anything. And I'll put the light on that shortly. That, I think, we can throw away. That we can move to there. That to there. Get the light out wherever it is. Pop it there. We'll hold that over there, and I will talk to you while that's going off. Ow! And when you finish using the heat gun, just a little tip, don't put your hand on them because they're hot. You're chatting amongst yourselves happily, that's good. What's the burn hole in? Yeah, well, funny you should ask that, Brian. I did actually explain it on a previous stream. What was it? I've got to remember now. Oh, yeah, speaking of heat guns, that's what it was. The heat gun was down on the floor where it is now, where it shouldn't be. And I inadvertently trod on something that turned the heat gun on. And it was going for a while, and then it melted the nylon strap at the back of my apron, which was resting on the front, and burst into flames. And I go, oh, I could smell something, but I couldn't see where it was. And then I looked down and I had a big hole in my apron. That's how it happened. Moral of the story, have a tidy workshop. Sounds great in theory. This is nearly gone off. Nearly done. Okay. So that is now set. We'll go on the camera here. No, where is it? No, we'll use this one over here because it's working better. So you've got that different colours sort of happening. And then I get the glue, put some on the underside as such, pop it into the cup, make sure it's down there nice and flat, and then just put the light on it for a few moments. I can hold that down, there was something else other than my finger, there we go. Okay, that is now glued in there. It's not going anywhere. And you mix up your resin and you pour it in over the top of that, and then you end up with that one that I pulled out earlier with this shape. I actually put a bigger block on the back of this because then I can put that in the chuck and centre it. This is off centre, the reason being I've already turned the egg on the inside, but I'm looking at that and you wouldn't know that I had, so I might have to start from scratch. But it's really cool if you look down into that, I don't know if you can see it, all the colours, and they're down inside. So that's actually on the base of the egg when I finish turning that, which will be a job in the next couple of days. Oh dear, oh dear. All right, well that's it. I hope you enjoyed that first stream of the year, I guess. Yeah, it was. And thank you for Carbatec for asking me to come on and share some ideas. As I said, if you're new to this particular stream, if you like it, please hit the subscribe button, and there'll be more Woodworking Masterclass videos coming up very shortly on my channel. But for this one, this is Carbatec's Wonderful World of Woodwork. What did we do? We did some pouring, which I'm just going to go and quickly have a look at because I might just have to put the gun over it. So we covered how to make a mould so you can have your own unique moulds, how to pour, how to hold things down if it's too much. I'm just getting all the bubbles off of here. I'll be with you shortly. Got a fair few bubbles come up. I can't show you unfortunately because I'm on the other side of the workshop. But I'm just putting the heat gun over, getting any bubbles off, and believe me, it is looking spectacular. I will show you the end result when we've finished it. The resin I was using was rigid cast, excuse me, casting resin. Be there soon. Put a couple more bubbles. I think that's it. There you go. And it's for deep cast. So if you're doing something like what we did, that's the one to use. Perfect cast, rigid casting. There you go, perfect cast, rigid casting. There is another one, there's another two. One I've seen is a coat, and it's like a two-part epoxy finish. The other one, I don't know, I haven't used, so I might see if I can use some of that later on, which would be lovely. I've got to put the light on that, don't I? The colours I used were eye candy. And you buy one lot, but you know, you just use such a very, very small amount. That's an egg that was finished. Well, as I said, I don't recommend using that particular resin for turning. It wasn't the nicest stuff I've turned, but there are so many things you can do. Fix bowls with holes in it. if you've got a slab coffee table and it's got a big, inclusion in it, clean the bark out, fill it with resin, give it a bit of detail, a bit of panache. Try with little things first, have some projects on hand that you can fill up so you're not wasting any of your resin. Wear gloves, which I didn't because I couldn't find any, but I should have. When you're sanding, definitely wear a respirator or a mask unless you've got an extraction system like I've got on the sander, which pulls all the dust and stuff off because it's not nice. Make sure that you wire wheel or at least brass brush and preferably blow off with a compressor any loose bits of bark or bug dust or whatever that is in the timber you're going to use. I've also used a sandblaster. I've got a sandblaster up in the other shed and I sandblast the bills sometimes, which cleans them up. Work carefully, methodically. Bear in mind you do have a time frame. Get a heat gun or a hairdryer to get rid of the air bubbles. That's how you make the frame. Very, very easy, cost effective. You can use home glad wrap, cling wrap. I use pallet wrap. It's a bit thicker and stronger, but whatever you've got. But have fun. That's all you got to do. Be adventurous, but don't get ambition and capabilities mixed up when you're starting because it will lead to a world of hurt. And I'm not saying that's in 100% of cases. There are going to be people out there, first time they're going to have a big pour and it's going to work well. In my experience, it didn't. But anyway, if you've got any questions or any queries, by all means you can email me or the good people at Carbatec and they will answer your queries, I'm sure. Excuse my back, I'm just going to put the light on this for a tick. And then it can go off. There you go. Next stream, I haven't got a clue what I'm doing. But if there's anything you want to see or anything you want to see again or any procedures, processes or techniques or tips, tongue-tied. Again, either message me or message Carbatec and we will do our best to work out a program that will suit your needs. So until then, this is Steve pulling the shed door down and saying thank you very much. Once again, if you like the channel, please subscribe to the Carbatec channel. This is the Carbatec Wonderful World of Woodworking. I'm Steve Hay and I bid you all a happy new year, a great week ahead and a great month until we meet again. Till then, look after yourselves, be creative and just take maybe a little bit of a chance on something. Till then, bye for now. No, that's not it.